Hello everyone, I'm your lecturer for BBMM506 Strategic Management, and my name is David Valdez, and I'm also the Deputy Head of Discipline for Management and Marketing. So in case you have any questions about the unit or even about the two disciplines, marketing or management, you can send me an email, which is indicated here on this slide, which is also available on Moodle, by the way. So you can review this video and, of course, the resulting slide that accompanies the video. Okay, so I'm here today to give you a little bit of an introduction to strategic management and also tell you more or less what to expect for the 6 weeks that we will be teaching this class. Knowing, of course, the lecture period is 6 weeks, twice a week, but we do have presentations to be done on week 7, and the submission of your final assessment will be at the end of week 7. So make sure you have a look at the unit outline, which will contain your assessments and learning outcomes for the unit. That is found on Moodle. And your lecture slides and the tutorial activities are also found on Moodle. So, to be engaged in this unit, in other words, to learn from this unit, you need to be engaged. And being engaged means, you're actually doing the readings, you're attending the lectures, whether that's live or on Zoom. But you're also performing the tutorial activities, which are usually for every session. We do have an activity of some sort. Some of them will be graded and some will not. So all this information is available on Moodle, which is what we call our Learning Management System, or LMS. So make sure you go to Moodle daily to check your messages and also to check what you're supposed to be doing for that particular day. We will communicate with you via your email. Is shown here in this slide. So make sure you actually access your student email, not your personal email, but your student email on a daily basis, because oftentimes we send you messages, important messages, especially the ones coming from me regarding the unit. So sometimes I will send a message that's a reminder about the assessments needed to be completed. I'm also free for consultation if you need to speak with me. Of course, in these times, we can speak via Zoom. But the most important thing for you to do is to email me an appointment. So let me know what date and time you'd like to meet with me, and I'll make it a point to try to set up a Zoom session with you so I can answer your questions. Or maybe it's a simple discussion on clarificatory comments on the unit. I can be there to help you out. Okay. So to engage in this class, what do you really need to do? First of all, of course, there is a class time. Although we're doing things online, we do synchronous, what we call synchronous sessions. In other words, you need to be there at a particular time. And for this unit, it is, well, of course, every term is different. So just make sure you understand what time the class actually starts, and you can get that from administration. The timetable will tell you exactly what time the class starts. So if the class starts, for example, at 9 a.m., I will be in the Zoom session at 9 a.m. waiting for you students to come in. And the way you would access that Zoom session is for you to go to Moodle, go to the unit page, which is BBM506 unit page, and click on the Zoom link, which is available right below the discussion forum. If this is your first time, the Zoom app will download automatically into your phone or your laptop. So you only download that once, and once you do that, you should be able to access it without any delay. When you're in the Zoom session, make sure you're listening to the lecture, because oftentimes he'll give you the instructions for the day. He'll let you know whether to watch a particular video or to read a particular section. That's material coming from Moodle. There are graded online activities. As I mentioned earlier, some of them are graded and some of them are not graded. But if you miss a graded online activity, that means you will be losing marks. And oftentimes, I don't give a second chance for you to take these graded in-class activities. After each session, your lecturer will tell you what materials to study from Moodle to prepare for the next session. And the session dates will be clearly marked on Moodle. Okay, so here's a snapshot of our unit page. And as you can see here, you'll see the Zoom link, Zoom online session link, which you can click on that to access the class. And just be there on time. Make sure you're there at the exact time that your timetable tells you to be there. Okay, but before you join the session, likely there will be a prompt for you to please write your name, best if you write your complete name. But most important is you write down your student number. Okay, so make sure you have that when you first enter the Zoom session. One way to do it, instead of having to do this every session, you can actually change your settings on your profile on Zoom to make sure you already indicate your student number. So this is how you can do that. Now, if you click on your Zoom application, whether that is on your phone or on your laptop or desktop, and you click on the icon above that, usually it'll have your photo if you put up a photo. If not, just make sure you click on that icon there. And then this drop-down menu will come out, which indicates your profile. So it says My Profile. Click on that, and you will see a screen which will open up in your browser, actually. Like if you're on Safari or if you're on Chrome, this will appear as a web page. You can, of course, insert your picture if you want there. But what I want you to do is make sure you are actually editing, click on edit here to change your name. And the name that I want to see would be your student number and then your first name, and then you can also write your last name afterwards, okay? So please do this before you first enter the first class for this section. Okay. So strategic management has the following learning outcomes, just 3 very basic learning outcomes. The first is to apply key tools used to analyze the main structural features of an industry. So when I say tools here, these are the concepts that you can apply. We will learn all about them and basically try to apply them in an actual industry. So an example of a tool might be the pestle analysis tool, or another tool might be Michael Porter's 5 forces model, which you will use to sort of analyze the industry. Another outcome is to identify and evaluate the resources and capabilities of business in terms of its ability to develop sustainable competitive advantage. That seems very long and it might be a little bit complicated, but really all it is saying here is this is a way that we can analyze the strengths and the internal strengths and the internal weaknesses of a firm or organization and determine whether it can develop a sustainable competitive advantage for itself based on these strengths and these weaknesses. And lastly, we need to evaluate and analyze dynamics in competitive rivalry, including competitive action and response. So it's basically developing strategies so that we can compete in the marketplace within your industry, or perhaps when you want to enter a new industry. And so those are the 3 main things we want you to learn after you finish this unit, or this unit. And this is the way you will be graded. So there are 5 assessments. The first is the very familiar assessment, which all of us have to go through, no matter what unit you have. There is a week 2 online quiz. And this week 2 online quiz is usually a multiple choice question type of quiz. You will do that on your own. You have to go into Moodle, click on the assessments folder, and usually on the very top, you will find the week 2 quiz link. Make sure, of course, when you click on that, don't click on it unless you are ready to take the quiz. And that will be open anytime between the end of week 1 and the end of week 2. In fact, the deadline for that is week 2 before, that's a Sunday of week 2 before midnight. So make sure you take that quiz, which is worth 10%. And as mentioned before, we have some graded in-class activities, particularly for session 3.2, 5.2, and 6.2. These will be graded. Okay, so basically they are 5% weightage for each of those activities for a total of 15%. So please make sure that you're actually attending these classes. Particularly 6.2, because 6.2 will be a graded workshop that will help you prepare your final assessment. Okay, so there you can actually submit a draft in 6.2, and I will be giving you some comments on how to improve your actual submission in time for the end of week 7, where the final assessment will be due. In week 4.2 or session 4.2, we will have a midterm exam. That midterm exam is actually the part 1 of your assignment. It'll basically, I'll be asking you essay questions about your preparation for this final assignment. So it'll give me an idea on whether you've started work on your assignment and you've started thinking about it. And so the questions there will be everything that we've learned from week 1 up to end of week 3. And basically, if you can answer these questions correctly, this forms the very first part of your assignment. You can get the content from this midterm and use that for your final assignment. So as mentioned before, your final assignment is worth 30%, as seen here in this slide. This written component is due at the end of week, it says here week 6, but actually this is an error. This should be week 7. That'll be due week 7. And you need to form a group of 2. So 2 students. As early as now, I think you should be thinking about who to group with, because again, your midterm, when I ask you these questions, it would be good for you to have already had some discussions with your group mate. Okay, so that is worth 30%. This written assignment or report is actually will need to be presented, and that's what I mean here by the individual presentation. That was worth 15%, and that will be held in session 7.1. So again, depends on when week 7 will be, but usually this presentation will be had to be done on Monday or Tuesday of week 7, okay, regardless of what our current schedules are. So be ready that on week 7 you'll need to do an oral presentation of your assignment. Okay, so this is will be done week 7, and reason why I'm doing the assignment deadline a week or almost a week after is so that you can use the inputs I give you during the presentation to improve your final written assignment a week later. Okay, what makes a successful online student? There are 4 basic components. The first is make sure you manage your time, very good time management. And time management means that you need to set aside time to attend class, but also set aside some time to do some of the activities like reading the chapters and doing some of the exercises before actually attending the class. So that 30-minute, preparation activities can help you understand the lecture a lot more. So that's just an example of how to manage your time. Okay, so do have a calendar of activities and put down things about how, when, for example, the midterm will be done, so that you can plan your whole 6 weeks or 7 weeks in this unit. It's important to be self-motivated in this class. So I'm not going to be around to always push you to do things. Your mothers or your fathers will not be around to tell you what to do. You have to do it yourself. You need to take the time to sort of motivate yourself. And motivating here, an example of this is telling yourself what you're trying to get out of this, knowing that this unit is part of your course, and you must be able to accomplish this unit or pass this unit in order for you to earn your degree. And basically, why are you doing a degree? It's because you want to have a better life, a better career, and a better life. So have that in mind. That's a good way to sort of motivate yourself to always come to class and do the exercises and do some preparation for your class and for your assessments. You will need some very basic technical skills, and I'd say really very, very basic. If you know how to operate your phone, you should have no problem in doing this class. But do be familiar, try to be familiar with Zoom, try to be familiar with Moodle, so that you don't have to struggle with all these technical requirements. And when you have to submit your assessments, you won't be trying to figure out how to submit, for example, your assessments. It would be good for you to have access to, of course, the internet, and of course, access to a word processing software like Word, MS Word, because our tests, you need this to submit your tests and your assignments. Last but not the least, try to make sure you have a good study environment. And when I say this, I mean the best is if you have a room to yourself where you can study privately and without any distraction. When you're taking your tests, for example, your midterm test, you will need a private room where people can't bother you. Of course, it's very difficult to be taking with the isolation requirements. It's very difficult to sort of take a test outside, or because you're not allowed to go traveling too far. But if you have access to a private room where you can take your exam, it's probably the best thing. Okay, so I think that's my last slide. I just will wish you the best of luck, and please attend the classes. That's really the best way to do well in this unit. My experience is, as long as you have more than 80% attendance of all your classes, the chances are you will do very well in this class. But if you don't come to class and you don't engage in the activities, it will be quite difficult. You will have a hard time trying to recover and trying to get back into the groove of things. So I hope to see you in class, and good luck.